Hi guys, this is Detective Tom Schultz, and I'm on the podcast. It's Technically Romance. Enjoy. Hey guys.
How's it going?
Hi.
Good. How are you? Should I go the other way? Should I do like this?
Got you now.
Turn this way for you.
There we are. Not upside down. Should we do it like...
So this is new. This is a really good way to do an interview.
Hi. Oh. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great. I'm doing awesome.
I love that shirt.
Oh, thank you. Do you guys know the band Lord Huron?
I don't. Wait, no, I do.
We
I've heard
do.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Lord Huron. I went to
awesome.
went to the concert just a few months back, and
Nice.
I'm a big swag guy, like concert T-shirt guy. As I've gotten a little older, I've accumulated all these like concert T-shirts.
Do you wear the concert T-shirt at the venue though? That's what I need to know.
I don't. I wear it after.
Nice.
Well, because I don't really. I haven't seen Lord Huron more than once right now, and so maybe I'll wear it to the next concert.
Yeah. He watches the concert and then he buys
Gotcha.
the merch.
And then I buy yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I never go back again.
just one swag and I'm out.
That's it.
That's it. One swag, I'm out for life.
He's only there for the swag.
I'm only there.
I really just want to start off and say congratulations. We just saw that you signed a multi-picture deal with Hallmark.
Thank you very much, guys.
Um,
Appreciate that. Thank you.
For those of us that aren't actors, what does that mean exactly? Because I know it's good. I know it's a really good thing, but what does that mean?
It means job security. That's basically what it means.
Nice.
It means that I have decided to forego some potential other opportunities with other networks, and continue to do films for Hallmark, and it's 2 movies to be specific for the year.
Nice.
And then anything above and beyond that is just kind of is gravy, but it's it's a guarantee, and then if all goes as planned with Curious Caterer, we'll do a bunch more of these in the mystery wheel.
Oh.
So we'll see. But I mean, yeah, it's just a way of, I guess, Hallmark saying, hey, don't worry, we got you. And I'm like, okay, guys, and I got you too. I don't really want to work anywhere else. I'm very, very happy with where I am right now, and who I'm working for, and so yeah, that's kind of what it means.
That's wonderful. That's
yeah,
so
we
awesome.
always assume that we're going to see you again on Hallmark, but I guess it's just, you never know.
Yeah, you just never know.
Man, every job could be my last. That's at least in my thinking. I that's how I've always felt. But yeah, Hallmark has always been one of those places. And I think if I talk to all the other actors that are working for Hallmark, it is the closest thing to what like an old studio deal would be for actors, when they kind of like would take these actors under their wing and sign like 3-year deals with them, and which is really unheard of now. Not a lot of studios are doing that, and how competitive the market is with TV and all the streaming services and all that stuff. So nobody really does that, and so Hallmark does, and yeah, so it's a really fortunate situation.
That's wonderful.
Well, Hallmark was smart because you're one of the best. So they were smart to grab you there.
Thank you guys.
Well, we're so happy to have you back on the podcast, especially because you're in the new movie that just premiered last weekend, Curious Caterer, Dying for Chocolate. This was actually our first Hallmark mystery movie that we've seen. So I was curious if you had seen any of their other ones. Was this something that you were looking to like get into the mystery world of Hallmark?
Well, Nikki and I, after Sweet Autumn, which was our 3rd movie together, she had said to me, she goes, Andrew, I I really want to do a mystery wheel with you. I'd love to do that. And I said, Nikki, I'd love to do that too. She goes, I'm going to make it happen. And Nikki's a little witchy. Like when she says something, it happens. It's going to happen. And if it's, you know, whether she manifests it or whether she makes it happen because she's just a super diligent person and a go-getter, she had been developing one herself with a producer. And she's like, well, look, I have one in development. So if this is the one that I really would love to do with you, but you know, if something comes around, we'll you know, take it as it comes. So I was really, you know, really excited to hear her say that. I never really thought like in a best case scenario, I thought there'd be an opportunity to potentially do a mystery wheel, but I wasn't like gunning for it. You know, it was kind of like an opportunity that I would have, you know, loved to have been met with. And so there's that part of that piece to the question. But I have seen a few mystery wheel movies. I saw Murder, She Baked, Ali Sweeney's, you know, good friend. And I saw Mystery 101. I really enjoyed Mystery 101. I like that series a lot. And I really like Chris Paloha, like knowing him now personally, and Jill Wagner. They're like they're such a great duo. And I think it really comes down to that, like, you know, that counterpart, the two leads, the two-hander. Chris is just such an easy guy to watch on camera. Like he's just such a good, like open, good guy. Like that, you know, he's so solid. He's got a great comedic timing. He's got, you know, he just brings a lot. He's a great leading man, you know. So I loved watching the 101 series. But when this came around, so Nikki and I, we did Sweet Autumn, thought that we were going to do her movie that she was developing. And then I was sent this script, you know, month before we were going to go to shoot it, or 3 weeks before we were going to go shoot it. And on the same day that I got the script, Nikki texts me and she goes, hey, did you get a script called Curious Caterer? And I was like, yeah, yes. Why? What's up? She goes, well, I got it too. And they said that you're attached to do it. And I said, well, I'm not attached to do it yet, but I got it. And they asked me if I would be interested in to read the script and see what I thought of it. But if you got it and I have it, then I will do it if you do it. Let's not even like, who cares what the script, you know, is.
So when you got the script, you didn't know she was attached to it.
I didn't know she was attached to it, but she got the script being told that I was potentially attached to it. So she called me right away, or she texted me right away. And then I was like, look, Nick, if you do it, I'll do it. Let's just read the script. It has to really be terrible for us not to do it. If this is, you know, the potential of us working together again for multiple movies on something. So let's just, you know, read it. We'll touch base later today. And so that's what we did. And we were very pleasantly surprised that the script was up to snuff. And then we decided to, you know, to do it. And it was the best case scenario.
Yeah, well, Mystery 101 was actually probably the one that if we were going to watch one, that one looks pretty good. But then when we saw you and Nikki, we were like, oh, we have to.
It's a great way
to
start.
Has to be our first.
Great way to start.
Oh, great, guys. Well, I appreciate that. You have no one else to compare it to. So you have to see all the rest of the ones. But I know
we're big murder
murder
mystery fans.
Yeah.
So
oh, you are?
like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were critiquing it pretty hard.
Well, I'm interested to hear your critique. And also we definitely seeing all the rest of the Hallmark movies, and also being part of the broadening of, you know, the storylines, and just like that they're opening stuff up a lot now. You know, whether it be rom-coms, where the comedy is able to hit harder, and the suspense aspect of these movies. So when we got this, I said to Nikki, I was like, look, Nick, we've done 3 movies together. We have the trust of the viewers. People are going to watch this movie, hopefully, you know, and we could give them another Nikki DeLoach, Andrew Walker movie, or we could give them something different. And I could play against all those natural instincts of just like, you know, giving you that little smile, or giving you, you know, just like being a little bit more open and available to like have a relationship, you know, both of us. So we really played against that. And as you saw in the movie, I was a lot more standoffish and a little more of a closed book and a little annoyed with her. And, she's meddling in my business and stuff. And, but, there's definitely nearing 3/4 of the way through, there's definitely like an open, we're starting to open things up a little bit more, and there's an attraction, but still, the unknown, it's not really like, you're like, oh, those two are for sure going to be together. But I think you get the idea just because Nikki and I have also done so many movies together now that it's just, it's like, I'm working across somebody that I feel like I have this. She's like I say she's my creative muse. She's somebody who really brings out this side of me that's that I'm able to tap into, not necessarily with a lot of other actresses.
Well, it's funny you say that. There was a scene on the steps when she like sneaks into the house, and you're like confronting her about it, and then she has this like, "Are you going to arrest me?" And there's a little connection between you two, and I think that's when the walls start coming down that moment. And I love that scene. We were live tweeting as well, and I think a lot of the viewers really love that scene too, because you started to kind of just break those walls down just a little bit.
I almost saw like a tiny smile.
Yeah,
there was like a little smirk from you.
Yeah, there was a little smirk. Like, oh, okay, he's got a heart. He's got a heart. It's interesting you say that, because it was such a small scene, and it was we were in and out of that day, like that. And when we went into it, I didn't really, you never really think that, you don't plan out what scenes are going to hit differently with viewers, but I saw the messages coming through when I was live tweeting, and yeah, it was a really good response on such a small scene. Like, I don't go into, I definitely know more or less the structure, the building blocks I have in my head of like where I would like to just be a little bit more open. And for sure it was, because it's the second time in that scene that she tells me, she goes, are you going to arrest me? It's the second time she says it to me now. So it has to have been met with a little bit of, little humor, and a connection, and like, okay, well, don't tempt me. But yeah, that was great. It was great how people just really responded to that.
Yeah, this was definitely a different character for you than what we're like normally seeing, the romantic sort of like upbeat guy that smiles more. But I heard that you were watching things like Mayor of Easttown and True Detective to sort of prepare to get into like the headspace of a detective. So what did you take away from watching those shows, and how was it getting into this like darker side of this character?
Well, one major takeaway was I loved hearing, there was an interview with Matthew McConaughey about True Detective, and he was like, you do a film and certain things happen in a 120-page script, for example, compared to Hallmark, but in a 120-page script on a MOW, you'd start seeing that budding relationship happen on page 45 or 40, 45, 50, usually just like right before halfway through. And so he was saying that it was a slow burn until you start realizing who his character is. It's only happens in episode 4, out of the 6 or whatever in True Detective. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'll approach this like that. I'm going to play against all these instincts and these things, the natural progression of what would happen in a Hallmark movie. I'm going to play against that, and just it'll eventually happen on page 350 potentially, or 400, depending on how many scripts we get to do of this film. And Mayor of Easttown, I just loved how well-rounded of a character she was, and a person. She had all this baggage, and yet she had to go to work. She had a task at hand. It's a lot was at stake. And it's the same deal with Tom Schultz. He had a divorce. He left a city that he'd been in for years working on the force, and he left because of the violence and the crime. And he wanted to, he was also appeasing his wife at the time to go back to a small town that she grew up in, but then she ends up leaving him when he decides to, okay, I'm going to commit. I got the job. Let's just go back there. So there's all these things, all this baggage that he has, or he had. And meanwhile, he has this bigger task at hand, which is finding out who killed this woman, you know, and it's a big case for him because it's important. It's a you know, little badge of honor for him if he earns the trust of the town. Yeah, no, it was a difficult task at hand because it was kind of like it's kind of like Clue, right? Like everybody was everyone was tight-lipped and everyone could have been a suspect, and so, you know, he reluctantly realizes that he really needs Goldie Berry's help because she's able to extract information from people that he's not.
Well, I mean, you know, speaking of just sort of tight-lipped, your interview, the way you interviewed people, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, thank you.
You were ruthless.
Yeah, it was ruthless. Like you were just no holds barred. You know, when Goldie sneaks into the office, you know, you're like, no, that's not a request. You're sitting down right now. Like, loved it. Did you really like? What was your, like, I guess your kind of motivation for that? Because every interview, I believed you were a detective.
Especially when you're interviewing Adele.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks guys. Well, I had to really be on point because Adele's husband, Archie, his name is Jason Tremblay, is the actor, and Jason is a cop. So I would at the end of the scene, I'd be like, Jason, how do you feel about this? What's happening? He's like, no, it's good. It's good. Very believable.
Nice.
I feel like I get my stamp of approval. So it was nice to have a cop on set as a little sounding board, but yeah, no, my motivation is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Going like, yeah. So I mean, basically, just trying to get information. You know, I mean, it's just extracting information from people, and also kind of, you know, without pointedly accusing people of things. You know, I loved, and going back to Mayor of Easttown, I love the way that Kate Winslet would extract information from people, and she had to do it in a town that she knew everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was really interesting, and it was more just conversational and just, all right, cool, yeah, it was just, all right, no, let's just have a conversation, and I'm going to ask you these questions, and there's no, I'm not putting anything on you, and then it's just for me to, you know, to download and then leave, and then I would assess afterwards. But for sure, you know, there was that, like, I didn't want to necessarily turn people off immediately too. So I wanted it to seem very approachable and non-confrontational, inquisitive, you know, just thinking as things, you know, processing as somebody would, you know, in the room. And so yeah, no, that's kind of just how I would do it, you know, and or how I approached it.
Well, we loved it. I think
Yeah.
you hit the nail on the head.
Thanks, guys.
It was so
Thank you
fun
very
seeing
much.
you like in that way.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, this is our second time interviewing you, and you're such a nice guy, and so to see you just like flip that switch, it's like, oh man.
Thank you. You know, and you say in the scene where I had to, where I was telling Nikki or Goldie, you know, hey, sit down and wait for me. There was a note that came back saying, hey, can you maybe just be a little softer on that? Or can you say, can you be a little more apologetic? And I was like, and they just said, like, just for the network, can you just do that? I was like, well, if I do that for the network, they probably will take that take.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna do that. And I didn't give it. I chose to, you know, and this isn't like for all the new people coming onto Hallmark and all the actors coming on Hallmark, do what you're told usually, but you have to stick to your guns. You know, most, like, a couple decisions, you just have to stick to your guns and your choices. And look, I've done 21 movies for them now, 21, 22. I don't know what it is, but I feel like at this point I was like, guys, just trust me. I just feel like I just need to stay on track here with the type of person this guy is, you know? which also left room for Nikki's reaction to be a little more comical. You know, she's like looking at the chair going, I'm not going to do this, what this guy tells me to do. You know, there's no way I'm sitting down. There's no way I'm sitting down here.
I can't believe we almost lost that. Like, I absolutely love that scene. That was a great call. I'm glad you stuck to your guns. That was, in my opinion, that was the right call for that scene.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I felt the same way.
Nice.
Well, was it difficult? So, I mean, normally you and Nikki have been in, this is your 4th movie now, right?
Yes.
You guys have such amazing chemistry, and we talk about it in our podcast that you two are just like, it's amazing. So was that kind of hard to sort of downplay it, since it was like super subtle and this movie wasn't about the romance? Was it difficult for you, since your chemistry does come so naturally, to sort of like downplay that aspect?
Man, it was difficult just because keeping a straight face with Nikki is difficult. We just have such a good time together, and she pokes fun at me, and I just, I poke fun at her, and we just, so to have the cameras be rolling and then just get into it. Yeah, it was tough, but then, you start to get and what I love about the potential of this movie is you get into the cadence of who the person is day 8 or day 7, and then the movie ends 15. If you're 15 days in, you only have like 7 more days to play out these things, these like things that you've unlocked it within the character. And so I felt like I had started to unlock these things on same thing, like day 7, day 8. And now if, this does go for a few more, there's so much more that I feel like I can do and tap into, and areas I can go that are still within the framework of who this character is. And so, yeah, no, it was tough, but once we were a few days in, getting the rhythm of things and just getting into the story, it was just like another day at work.
Yeah, I love that they still kept that you had sort of like a banter. It was different, but I loved the feeling of like you just wanting her to stay out of it, but then she's like actually really good. Like she has some good points of bringing, so it's like you can't help but like use her help. So I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I can't help, and I really don't want her help, but she's too good. She's too good.
She's too good. Maybe she might become an actual detective in later movies.
Ooh, yeah. I don't even know that.
I don't know.
Well, what was your favorite part about playing this character? What kind of really stuck out with you? What did you really kind of hone in on for this character?
The ability to tap into a side of myself that is sometimes dormant in these movies, and that playing the straight guy is really tough, tougher than what you would imagine, I guess. Because my natural instincts are just to, be a little bit more outgoing and open, and so playing again, just staying within the context of who this guy is, and the history of what he came from and his circumstances with his divorce. And so just that was really exciting for me to just explore that. Also, I was actually really looking forward to the interrogation scenes as well, because it's something that you don't really get a chance to do that often. And I had an idea after watching Mayor of Easttown of how I wanted to approach that. So, that those parts of the movie, and also just able to work with Nikki again. Those are the three top things for me on this movie. And it just so happened that, also the producers and the director, the crew, it was such a perfect experience with all these people, that the crew. So Anthony Mecci is our director, And Anthony's worked on 300 plus movies as a DP in Vancouver. And this was his first time directing, but the crew had his back like you wouldn't believe. They all wanted this to be a huge success for him because he's such a good guy. And so working with a first-time director as well, I was really excited. It either could go two ways, right? Like either it could be a complete flop, or they're not so jaded by the formula of these Hallmark movies that, and not saying that most directors are, but there are definitely some guys that have done 40 of these, and they're just like, okay, guys, it's another day at work. Let's do this, and this. Given that give it back the way that I know it's going to work, and there's no like risk taking, But Tony really tried to do different things and shoot it like a little bit more like a feature film in the way, like these swooping shots through the pool that come up over the party scene, establishing shots. He did a lot of crane work. He did a lot of steady cam, and he would let Nikki and I block first before we would come on set. He'd let us just, block out the scene, and then he'd invite cameras in to take our marks, and then lighting would come. Then he'd do the lighting, once we go away, and then come back to shoot the scene. So he just allowed us so much freedom to explore and play, and that was another thing that I was hoping that we were able to do, but we were in fact able to do on this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I big on technical, and I thought the lighting was great. And from a technical standpoint, I think the movie did really well. So it's good to hear that everyone on set was having fun and had the director's back. I really do think you can tell that difference on set when the crew and the cast members are just vibing.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Such a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, casting was great for this movie. We especially loved your partner, Mason, I think is his name.
Yeah, Riley Davis. Yeah, Mason. Yeah, wasn't he great?
Yeah, you guys together, it was fantastic. Yeah.
I can't wait to work with that guy again. If we get a bunch of these, he's so much fun. He had us in stitches. Like he could be a stand-up comedian, but it's difficult. Playing his role is really difficult to keep it because it's important that it comes from a grounded place, that he's not shticky, or a caricature. So working with him was a lot of fun. And I said to Nikki, I was like, arguably, I think this is the most important character in the movie because he's the comic relief. He bridges the gap between you and I and a lot of the other characters. And so working with him, and I love the response that people gave him. People really, really loved his performance in it. So it's, I felt fortunate to work with him.
That's interesting. You're absolutely right, though. He is one of the most important pieces in this because of what you just said. I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right. And for some reason, when he said that line about how she used to babysit for him, like even that line, it's just like it just cemented it, and you realize what a small town this really is.
That's it. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, the details. We love those.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of details, you have a great question.
So in your office, there's a photo of, it looks like a police dog on the filing cabinet when you walk in.
Yeah.
Is that an ex-partner? Was that they just put it there? Is there a story behind that?
Yeah. We had a whole story about it. It was
yes, I knew it.
We had our own side story about it because he was a rescue. He was a rescue that I had worked with up in San Francisco, and I brought him in. I forget the name that we gave him. Like Maverick or something. It was really,
the name is important, Andrew.
Yeah, it was I think it was Maverick, and he when he passed, he kind of broke me inside, and I changed me as a man, and that's when I kind of like. I went through like a really dark depression, and thought I was going to get another dog. Like we had this whole like ongoing story but the dog had nothing. It was just props, just put up a dog. That's basically all it was. But
there was a story. There was a story.
So we were talking with the camera guy about it every day. Every day we'd be in that little office. I was like, okay, so what's the deal? It was actually our AD that I talk about it with, and our camera department. We were always just like creating backstories about this dog.
Oh, I love it.
That's amazing. We were hoping.
Like, I'm surprised we can. Yeah. like some one day, like they're like, I'm surprised you can even function today, like because your dog's there, and like, isn't it your dog's birth? It was your dog's birthday, wasn't it your dog's birthday today? I'm like, yeah, guys, no, it's a tough day. You don't even talk to me about Maverick right now. Don't talk to me about Maverick.
That's not why he's so like, troubled and thing from, it's not from his divorce or any of that. It's because of Maverick.
It's because of Maverick.
Yeah.
Maverick. Yeah.
That's amazing. So because of this is a murder mystery, I was curious, maybe what do you watch murder mysteries in your own time, or do you have favorite shows? Are you good at figuring out who the killer is?
Did you know when you read the script? Did you like flip to the last page, or did you try to figure it out as you read along?
No, I tried to figure it out as I was reading it along. Nice. And Nikki and I both actually, we first thing we said to each other when we read the script, I'm like, I didn't know who the killer was until the very end. This is amazing. I had no idea. I was trying to figure it out, and I originally thought that it was going to be Lachlan's character. I thought it was going to be her ex-husband. And then obviously when they cast Lachlan, he always plays, but I didn't know that Lachlan was going to be cast as that character. So I was super surprised actually that we got Lachlan for this, because he's on like 3-4 different projects at any given time. But yeah, no, the last one I watched was Mayor of Easttown. So I love having the opportunity, because my wife and I, with our small business in LA and just being parents, and once we get the kids to sleep by 9 o'clock, we're like both beat and just want to go to sleep. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. So we don't watch a lot of TV, unfortunately. But when I get a job, I usually just dive deep into movies that can stimulate, or give me some inspiration, so Mayor of Easttown was my last one, and I had no idea in Mayor of Easttown either. That was an awesome twist at the end.
We did not either.
I don't think anybody knew.
Well, so we watch a ton. Towards the end, I started to suspect a little bit, because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, but just sometimes, you'll have a character and they're like so obvious, and you're like, obviously it's not that person. But then you have a character that's so good, and you're like, wouldn't it be crazy if somehow it was that good character? And so that's when you start to break it apart a little bit. But I wasn't like right away. But this, I didn't know at all.
I really wanted, in Curious Caterer, I wanted it to be Marla. I thought for sure it was her. I thought I had it.
Yeah.
Did you? Interesting. Yeah.
She was in the kitchen with the cookies.
She was in the kitchen with the cookies by herself, and she was in the parking lot.
Yep.
There was that close up of her in the parking lot looking over, and you think, what's she thinking? What's happening? Is she up to something?
Yeah, and then it was a woman. It would have been a really good twist. But yeah, we
had no idea.
We didn't
until he asked for the apron. I was like, that's such a weird thing to ask for. Like, I'll take care of it. Yeah. Something's up with you, man. I don't like that. But it was only towards the end. Only towards the end.
Yeah, that was the interesting thing. Like, this movie, I've heard feedback from other Hallmark mystery movies, and usually the common consensus is that the middle of the mystery, sometimes it's a little patchy, and you're not super connected to the story at a certain point. Like, there's like holes, but this one, it felt like you were always part of that unraveling of like, who could it be? Who could it be? Oh, is it this person? Is it this? And you're trying to figure out like little nuance in the story, and you're really brought along with the actors, or with the characters along this journey of like trying to figure out who done it.
Yeah.
So
we watch a lot of Midsummer Murders, which is a British murder mystery. There's like 20 seasons
BBC?
or whatever.
Yep.
Yes. So if you ever have the time, it's an amazing show. We don't like ever figure out who it is. Pretty.
But the same way with this one. Like, I just thought it was written so well, because it kept us interested to find out more. The motive. Who could it be? And just, it's so good when everyone is a suspect. Everyone has just a motive. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron Mott Dobson, was the writer, and then John Christopher Plummer. He did a great job in the adaptation and some of the rewrites that he did. So, yeah, give credit to both of them.
So there were some action sequences in here, which I wasn't expecting for Hallmark Mystery, but they were all with Nikki. So were you jealous that you didn't get in on the action there?
I loved it. I loved it. Tony, we had a table read after our first table read, and Tony said, he's like, I really want Nikki to, he's like, Nikki, are you okay doing some stunts? And she's like, hell yeah, of course I am. And he's like, great. Okay, because that night I really want you to be the one to take down, you know, the killer. And so, yeah, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, I posted behind the scenes of Nikki doing when I was live tweeting. So when I was live tweeting, I took behind, you know, after that scene, I took behind the scenes of her taking down the killer. And Nick, don't mess with Nikki DeLoach, man. Do not mess with her. And I love that they, you know, Hallmark had never had they never had the female do that before in a movie, in a mystery movie. So, you know, the female characters traditionally are always like extremely likable, you know, very, you know, not, I don't want to say appeasing, but just, you know, they're strong females, but they're not going to go knock somebody out, you know, where Nikki's character, she can bake some cookies and she'll knock you out.
That's the tagline right there. She'll bake some cookies and she'll knock you out.
Cookies and she'll knock you out. Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
And she'll TKO you.
Yeah,
she did.
That was a lot of fun to see her.
Because you weren't expecting. You're like, both of us were just like, man.
So we did put out a little thing for some of the fans that had some questions after seeing the movie. So we're gonna ask you some. Let's see. So Mackie Unson asked a great question here. What are aspects of Detective Tom's personality or backstory that you would like to explore further in future Curious Caterer episodes?
Maverick. I want to explore Maverick. Good question. You know, it's a great question. This is the beauty of doing multiple here. I love characters with issues. Like I love Bruce Willis's career. You know, he had so many. He's not just this, you know, what you see is what you get kind of guy. He always has this like long history of things that he's working through, but he's still the hero. And I think broken heroes are really interesting. And so I really want to dive deeper into that, into being a broken hero in a way. And like, you know, just somebody who's, fully fleshed out human being. I mean, I think we all have a little bits and pieces of things we're working through, right? And so I really want to explore that. The Mason relationship, I think, is going to be a lot more fun to just find a little bit more play with that, and like who he is to me and who I am to him. I mean, we all know, like, you know, he respects me so much. I'm like his idol. But you know, it's I think those are two main things that I'd love to really explore.
Yeah, we'd love to see that too.
Yeah, definitely. I need that Maverick.
We need the Maverick.
Some flashbacks,
Maverick,
maybe some flashback scenes.
Yeah, that's it.
And Mackie also asked if any of the couples that you and Nikki have portrayed could get a spin-off series, which couple do you think would make the best fit for a series format?
I think A Dream for Christmas is a special one. I think that going back to, you know, broken heroes, or, you know, that was really special story. And I always said, you know, people have asked me before, they're like, you know, what movie would you want to, if there's any movie you'd like to do again, this is before Curious Caterer, but there's, you know, so if any movie you'd like to do again or redo or just do a sequel of, I keep going back to A Dream of Christmas. I also really loved Bottled with Love with Bethany Joy Lenz. Like that was a fun movie, and I'd like to, you know, I'd explore that a little more. But I think A Dream of Christmas, because now being married for 10 years, I've been with my wife for 18 years, we got 2 kids, I'm in a different headspace. And I had my oldest was maybe 3 months old when we were doing A Dream of Christmas. And, I understand a lot more about, what it is to be a dad and a husband and you tack on all these layers in your life and the gravitas it is to like, you can't just, you work through so much, you know what I mean? As 2 kids in a marriage and plus life and bills and, and the unknown of what's coming next and just like trying to like protect your kids. And, so I'd love to do that movie, but really honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I just came off of it, but Curious Caterer is the one that I would have to say that I am so excited to potentially do more of, because there's so many more, things that we can play with in Curious Caterer.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's just starting to like, really connect at the end there with you two, and it's just like we want more.
I know it ended, and I was like, no.
No, come on, we need more. We need more.
Well, we actually shot 2 more scenes after that last scene.
Did you really?
There was another wrap-up scene that we shot that we did, and they didn't add it in because we were a little long, but also I think they wanted to keep people on a little more of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I mean it worked. I mean, it definitely worked.
And another fan, Geraldine Clark asks, is there anything about this movie you would change or have done differently?
Good question. I think the only thing that I would have changed is I felt like the killer needed more of a reason to open the wellness center. I wish that we were able to flesh that out a little bit more, but I know at the end of the scene, there was so much dialogue in that end scene in the woods anyways, that, there's only so much speaking that we could do. So we can't completely unpack everything. But I think there's that. Like, what is it a money play? Was it a pharmaceutical play? Was it like that he has this ability now that he could like, or she could, persuade people to do things. And so I just think that, yeah, I think that's probably a piece to this movie that was a bit of a concern of Nikki and mine right from the get-go. But I don't know if people felt the same way, but that's probably the only thing that I would change in this.
I mean, when you bring it up, maybe, but I don't know.
Like we got it, but at the same time, I do think maybe, I did feel kind of like, was it worth murder? Like I need a little bit more. What was the motivation behind it? But yeah,
that's it. That's the only thing.
That's good. And then our last question here is from Sandy Falconetti. I don't have a question. Just let Andrew know that his and Nikki's fans absolutely love this mystery.
Oh, that's well. Hopefully, you're the spokesperson for everybody that watched it.
She is. We got confirmation.
All right, perfect. You got confirmation? Okay, yeah. Confirmation. Yes.
No, but I feel
well, thank you, and that's very sweet.
Yeah, I feel like that was a great way, because I mean, we were so excited for it, and we really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was really great seeing you, Nikki, in like a different way than we normally.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, no, it was really, it was just true, like really a special experience for me to be on board with this and get to work with her again.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't have asked for more. You and Nikki and Murder Mysteries, it's like our favorite things together.
All right. Love it, guys.
So we really hope that you guys make more. I'm sure you will, because I'm pretty sure
the
response to it was great. Do we know what the ratings were yet? Oh, I haven't.
So we got initial yesterday that the exec at Hallmark, Heather Overton, who's the one that put us together in this, she said that it looks solid. So yesterday's initial was solid.
Nice.
Today we get numbers. Today we get the numbers, though.
Solid is great. Solid is great.
Solid is great, eh? Yeah.
Yes. So we'll assume there will be more.
And you'll let us know, right?
Yes, your
you'll let us
assumption.
know.
I will let you know. I will let you know.
Because I have to say, I need more. It was very weird seeing you and Nikki in a movie and there was no kissing. Like it was very strange to me.
But I don't want you guys to kiss until like the 4th movie. You know, really build it up.
Yeah,
build it up.
We will hold back, guys. Yes.
Well, we do always end the podcast with our thing you did last time. It's called a proud plug. And I know last time you mentioned that you were coaching your son's Little League team.
Little League.
Had to see how that's going.
It's not going anymore. He's moved on to soccer now. And skating. He's into skating. So to my wife's against all my wife's wishes, because she's like, I'm not going to be a hockey mom. I'm not going to go to the rink. I'm not going to spend time in a rink. But I actually, I don't mind it. I play hockey and I bring him to the rink and we do free skate and it's a lot of fun. So he's in skating now.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything recently that you would like to, besides your movie, promote, but say what you're proud of right now? What's going on?
I'm proud of, I'm proud of Curious Caterer, obviously. I'm very proud of the work we did, and I am just looking forward to, hopefully bringing more of these movies to fans. And I'm also really proud of I have to plug my juice company a little bit, because we're things are really good. Things are really good right now with Little West. And so I got to plug my wife. She's really killing it, in our juice company. So she's the CEO of the juice company, and she's done really unbelievable things for it. And so, yeah, those are the proud plugs right there. And also, guys, for anybody watching this podcast, if you go do friends and family 15, friends ampersand sign, all in capitals, 15 at the end, you'll get 15% off. So anybody that watches the podcast, 15% off. Juice delivery, just go to littlewest.com. It's just all self-explanatory. We have kits and we have cleanses. We have a whole bunch of things. We take the thinking away from people. They can do like a greens kit. They can do a anti-inflammatory kit, a sampler. And so, go online and order your juice.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll definitely push that.
Yeah. But honestly, thank you so much for taking the time to come back on.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the support and you reaching out always. I'm always here for you and appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really, we should just make you our resident Hallmark star on our podcast.
Give us all
the
details here.
Let's do it.
But hope you have a great rest of the day, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thank you. You too, guys. Definitely. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.